What's up, guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Steven. We're going to be talking about UFC related topics, mostly breaking down fights or fantasy matchups. Today we're going to be talking about Merab the Machine Dvalishvili versus Henry CCC Cejudo. When it comes to physical characteristics, I believe Merab has the advantage as he has a slightly longer reach. He's 2 inches taller. They weigh about the same. However, that does not take away from the athleticism or the strength that Henry Cejudo possesses. I wouldn't say he's a jacked fighter necessarily, but he is a very strong, very thick guy, so I don't think that those slight advantages are really going to affect the fight that much, because I believe that Cejudo has some athletic advantages of himself. Now, when it comes to the wrestling, both of these guys like to grapple. However, I do believe Cejudo is the more favorable grappler, as his grappling is a lot more effective. He's able to hold guys a little bit longer, and in the middle of the octagon, it seems like he has a lot more success with takedowns. However, in his last fight against Aljamain Sterling, he wasn't able to do much, and Aljo is also a very high-level grappler. This does concern me with Merab, even though I don't think Merab is as good of a grappler as Henry Cejudo. I do think that Merab can push a pace and that he is good enough to scramble and get out of a lot of the situations Cejudo can put him in. When it comes to the cage grappling, I think they're both pretty much equal, as Merab is a very good cage grappler. Look what he did to Aldo. Look what he's done to Jan. The guy knows how to wrestle when you put a cage behind him or in front of him. So I think that when it comes to the grappling, I think they're both pretty equal, with possibly a slight edge to Henry Cejudo. As far as their stand-up goes, Henry Cejudo, lately he's been rocking that karate stance. He's got his chin high up in the air, bladed stance, eats a lot of leg kicks, which is going to be a concern, but he does have a nasty right hand. I've seen him throw some pretty good hooks too, very decent combinations on the inside with his hands. He'll throw a high kick out of nowhere. Even though he's got really short legs, he will throw a high kick. Very athletic guy, throws teeps, just has a pretty good arsenal. And the same could be said about Merab. Merab's going to throw the kitchen sink at you. He's going to throw a lot of leg kicks. He threw a lot of leg kicks against Petr Yan, was very effective for him there. And actually, coming to those leg kicks, I think he's going to land a lot on Cejudo. Cejudo was very susceptible to leg kicks in the fight against Marlon Moraes. His legs were totally destroyed. If Marlon Moraes had a gas tank, he probably would have finished Cejudo in that fight. But Cejudo showed a lot of heart, a lot of grit, and a lot of endurance of his own to withstand the leg beating, essentially, that Moraes gave him. Weathered the storm and was able to come back pretty strong to get the finish on Moraes. When we're talking pace, Henry Cejudo can set a pretty good pace, and he can also handle guys that chase him down. In the Aljo fight, I feel like on the feet, Aljo was coming forward a lot. Cejudo was coming forward a lot too, but Cejudo didn't seem too tired. He did kind of fade a little bit later on in the fight. However, that was coming off of not fighting for a few years. But in this case, he hasn't been fighting for almost a year either, so it's kind of scary. But I think his stamina will be a little bit better. But he's going up against a guy like Merab, who can just push a pace like no other. I mean, they call this guy the EPO King for a reason. Kamaru Usman used to have that title, but now it belongs to Merab Dvalishvili, because that guy does not get tired. If you were to put that guy in the octagon against anyone, and you made it, just a lot bigger to where he could run around, he could probably beat every fighter on the UFC roster, just as in terms of stamina. Like in a battle of attrition, I think the guy just doesn't get tired. So I do think that as the fight goes on, Cejudo is probably going to fade a little bit. He might fall to Merab's pressure as well. Cejudo also leaves his chin up in the air, and Merab, while he's not the most powerful striker, he doesn't hit hard, he doesn't have a lot of power in his hands, he's going to be tagging him. He's going to be tagging him in the face, he's going to be trying to punch him in the body, teep him to the body, constant attacks, shooting for a single, shooting for doubles. going for a body lock, all kinds of trips. I mean, Merab is going to try everything. And Cejudo, to his credit, he's going to try stuff too. He's a very multifaceted fighter himself. Got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. But there's never going to be a moment where Merab just stops and stands and waits. Cejudo, there are moments where he stops and waits and he's analyzing and he's thinking or he's backing up or he's just not constantly pushing the pace like Merab is. I don't know. I'm looking forward to this fight, but if I was a betting man, I would say I'm probably picking Merab. He's had a pretty tough strength of schedule. He's fought a lot of good fighters. He's been a lot more active. I know they're both coming off pretty long layoffs, but I got to go with Merab. His performance over Aldo, Petr Yan, I believe that those performances trump Cejudo's performance against Aljamain Sterling, even though I thought it was a very close fight, a closer fight than a lot of other people thought. I definitely felt that Cejudo landed the harder shots in that fight, and I think he did a little bit better. I think he had better takedowns too. I know Aljo had takedowns, but I think a lot of his were on the cage, and they took a long time to set up, and Cejudo was able to fight him a little bit longer, whereas Cejudo's takedowns of Aljamain were very quick, very sudden, very athletic. I don't know, I'd kind of have to go with Cejudo on that, in that fight, but we're not talking about that fight. Anyway, guys, I gotta go with Merab. I think he's gonna get it done. I think he's gonna win 30-27. But that's not to say that it won't be close. Cejudo could definitely win one or two of the, or not two. He could definitely win one of those rounds. But I just don't see it happening that way. Anyways, you guys let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a like, maybe subscribe, and I'll see you later.